Hello, Nick McDonald here. Hello, Rise to a Millionaires. I hope that you're all well. All right, I want to talk to you today about how you can get off the whole, cycle of good times, bad times, feast and famine. Right. So many times we hear people, that they're in desperate states. They've got to a place where they're desperate and they want a quick, fast result. And that's when 9 times out of 10 people come looking for us, because they're at the point where they need some kind of change. They need to be desperate for some change. And what they're looking for, what a lot of people are looking for, is the silver bullet. And there is no silver bullet. I'm really sorry to tell you this. We bang on about this all the time. But what we notice is loads of people, they're in, they know what to do. They just don't do what they know. And they get to the point where they're desperate to change. So there's this whole, good times, bad times thing. So there's 2 ways there's 2 things that you need to do to get out of that, right? One is to do things consistently, to find a process. This is what we're going to talk about today, to find a process that you can do consistently. And then the second thing is to do that process consistently, right? To get yourself to actually do it consistently. Because there is no shortage of ideas and people to follow and listen to and learning. There's an abundance out there. But so you have to trust. You have to find somebody that you can trust, first of all. Make sure that you've got a process, and then to do it consistently. But it's a human thing where we tend to, it's like medicine. You take medicine, or you take vitamins when you're feeling down and poorly, right? Or when you're feeling a bit low. And then when you're feeling all right again, you stop taking the vitamins. So you're not taking them every day. So what happens is you take the vitamins, they make you feel a bit better, make you feel a bit up, a bit more up, your immune system's sorted, and then you stop taking the vitamins. What happens? Yeah, you start to go downhill a bit. So that is the whole thing about process, is understanding what it is that you can do and that helps you, and that you can do that consistently. That's the whole point of what I want to talk to you about. So a lot of people, so I've had a conversation very recently with an ex-client, somebody that we used to work with a long time ago, and taught us, they've come back into our lives to see if we can help them. Basically, they were sick of feast and famine, good times, bad times, and what can we give them immediately? What pill can we give them immediately to solve all of their problems? So we sent them packing and said, well, we can't really do that. We give you a proven process for you to follow. But if you don't follow that process, if you don't have the discipline to follow that process, then the expression that I use is you're in the wind, right? You wait, totally wasting your time if you're not going to do it. So this is what we notice, that people tend to be in this when things are good. They're not thinking everything's great, and just they are collecting money however they can. And then when things are not so good, that's when they stop thinking. So typically, what we see, feast and famine, is the summer is coming now. So in this industry, the summer is coming. So, and everybody's been waiting for the sun to come, waiting for the sun. People I've been talking to on coaching calls, they've been saying, oh yeah, the sun's come out today, it's great. And the phone started ringing. So, and that is great. But, in order for you, so just because the sun's come out and just because the phone is ringing, doesn't mean to say you've got to stop thinking, and you've got to stop using processes to make the most of when the sun comes out, so that you can capture the lifetime value of your customers, etc., right? So if you do the right things all of the time, and you do that, when the sun is out or when the sun isn't out, when it's warm or when it's cold or when it's mild, and you just consistently do the right thing over and over and over again every day. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it might not work, so you adapt it. But if you have this mindset that I'm going to continually do this, I'm going to have a process, I'm going to stick with it, I'm going to follow it, I'm going to trust it, I'm going to adapt it, then you will win. In the long term, you will win. Because if you don't, what will happen is you'll come to the end of the good times, and then you'll be facing bad times, and with no process, with nothing to fall back on. And then you're looking for the silver bullet. And this is, the way to avoid that, I keep saying this, is to have a process. Now, You see this not just in HVAC, but in life generally, you know, and in business generally. So, you know, somebody was talking to me about, or this guy actually who contacted us was talking about mindset. I said, are you still doing your mindset routine? You know, what are you doing for mindset? Oh, don't do that. Like, you know, there's no point in doing that. I did it for a little while. I said, if you're not doing mindset, if you're not doing your mindset rituals and your mindset, you know, your routine, you're not setting goals. Have you got a goal? Have you got a specific goal that you want to set? You know, no, not really. And I've stopped doing that. I said to him, you're screwed. You know, if you have periods of your time where you are, of your life, where you are anxious and down and you're struggling, then, you know, then that's when people turn to the mindset and they get the mindset routine out and they start doing, you know, listening to Tony Robbins and all that, hoping that it's going to work instantly. But do you know what? It doesn't work instantly, right? So my dad, rest his soul, used to talk about this, about people who'd lived their lives really badly, and then they were approaching the end of their lives and they're in repent mode. They're like, he called them coffin dodgers, right? It's terrible, but it just makes me smile, right? He said all these coffin dodgers, you know, were crowding into church, you know, asking for forgiveness and trying to live the last few years of their life, you know, in a way in which they'll get themselves into heaven. That's what he was implying. And so they've come to a time where they're facing, crikey, there's a big decision here. Something bad might be happening to me. I need to make amends. I need to do something differently, like some radical change immediately, and hope that I'm going to get an instant result. So I'm here today to tell you that there is no instant result unless you win the lottery. Okay, but if you know, don't count on that. Hoping to win the lottery is a really, really bad strategy. Okay, so don't do that. Don't do that. So there's going to be times, right? So you're going to have feast and famine. You're going to have anxiety, you know, and confidence, and you're going to be up and down, right? So a big part of avoiding that is having some routine and having some processes. You know, and a big thing, again, we talk about it a lot, is having a mindset, having a goal, looking at the goals that you want to achieve. What are the steps that you need to get there? What are the things that you actually need to do to prepare for, to get in place, so that if you constantly do them, you will then reach that goal. You'll get a process in place, and then for the lifetime of your business, you will have processes in place which will generate cash and income for you, so that you'll have balance, so that you'll be off the good time, bad time, good time, bad time. Because good time, bad time, that whole, you know, wheel, you know, hamster wheel, the impact on that, on you individually, and on the people that rely on you and the people that love you, is enormous. You know, so if you're up one day because everything's going well, and then, you know, down, you know, 2 or 3 months later, and you're holding your head in the hands, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? The impact that has on your heart, on your head, on your relationships, you know, on your integrity, on your, you know, on your business, on the good name of your business, it's bad news. So sow the seed, okay? If you have that, if you have experienced good time, bad time cycle in your life, either mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or financially, and especially in this particular business, because it is so seasonal, you can take the seasonality kind of out, or the seasonal pain out of this business, if you have the right processes in place, if you think about it. So there's 2 things. One, where do I find processes, Nick? And then, you know, and 2 is, you know, how do I actually get myself to implement those processes? Now, big subject that I could, as I'm sure that you're aware if you listen to me a lot, you'd know that I could talk for a week about either of those things. So I want to try and keep it as short as I can, right? So as far as process goes, right, there's a lot to say. I think there's currently, right, it's 2019, there's not an awful lot of information that's not already out there. Okay, so there is an absolute abundance of places that you can go for business advice, for especially HVAC advice. There's groups on Facebook, you know, there's podcasts like this one. there's there's other people you can talk to that will give you advice. Now I've talked about this before, there is no one single optimal route. There is no one single optimal path, right? All roads lead to Rome, as they say. You just have to choose which one is for you. And a lot of people get tied up in actually choosing what to do and therefore don't do anything. Okay, so my advice is that you need to just choose one and accept that you're going to get your heart broken. Okay, so if you think about, if you're lucky enough to have found, a life partner, that life partner the chances are it's not the first girl or the first boy you ever kissed. Okay, and I'm sure that you've had your heart broken. And if you haven't had your heart broken yet, I'm really sorry to tell you that you're going to have your heart broken at some point in your life. It's going to happen. It's exactly the same as you grow in business. You make business decisions, you follow people, you make decisions, you learn from them. Some work out, some don't. But it's all about the process. There you go. It's the process of I need to learn what works and what doesn't work for me in my business. So I'm deciding to go out looking for a process and try looking for processes. Now, there is, as I said, loads and loads and loads of places you can go to find out what works and what doesn't work for you, right? So you can work it out all on your own and get lots of pain, lots of heartache, lots of bruises, lots of debt, right? Or you can pay people to show you the way, a mentor, or you can buy programs. We have a program that shows you step by step if that's something that you are wanting to do. But I mean, there's loads. I mean, there's loads and loads and loads of places you can go that you can get some help from, right? So there's a little quote that I'm reading a book at the minute called Checklists. This is how sad I am. I used to be into rock and roll, have long hair, and be into fast cars, loud music, and gorgeous women. And now I get excited when I read a book about checklists. I kid you not. What is happening to me? I don't know, but there we are. But anyway, in this little book, it says this, right? This is a quote. Failure of ignorance, right? So failures of ignorance we can forgive. So basically what it says is if you don't know what to do, if there's nothing out there, then you can be forgiven, right? So failures of ignorance we can forgive. If the knowledge of the best thing to do in a given situation does not exist, then you should be happy for people to simply make their best effort, right? But if the knowledge does exist and it is not applied correctly, it is difficult not to be infuriated. I absolutely love that because, again, in our program, we provide step by step, as you can get in, a multitude of places. Here's some ideas that you can try step by step. It's proven. Just follow the process, and people don't do it, and they try and make things up as they go along, and they don't do it. So, as far as process goes, there is processes out there for you. If you've been in business any time at all, you will already be working out what process works for you and what doesn't. So you can make your own process and then test that out and get advice off of other people to see how they're doing it, etc., so that you can actually devise your own process and optimize that, right? So, but if you don't do anything, so I think what I'm saying here is there is processes out there. So not actually having a process for you to, how are you going to sell your maintenance agreement? Have you gotten a maintenance agreement? How are you going to sell that? How are you going to get found on the internet? How are you going to train your people? How are you going to answer your phone? Do you have a process for all these things? Because out there in the internet, out there, in the business world, there's the answers for this. There's proven things that you can have to absolutely optimize it. So there is no excuse really for anybody not to implement these things into their business. So get a process, right? If you're unhappy with your process, so here's the question: am I happy with my processes? What's my conversion rate on converting incoming phone calls to paid jobs? What is my process to make all the jobs that I do profitable? Am I happy with my profit margin? If not, where in my process what do I need to change in my process to make sure I'm making more money so that I get to keep more of the money that I'm actually making? What's my process for recruiting and training people? Am I happy with that? How often am I having to do it? What is my process, for, what is my process for getting reviews? I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but reviews are really important. I don't know if you're picking that up, but do you have a process to put in place to get reviews? One of our customers followed our program. We suggest a way to do that. He implemented that, and in 8 weeks got over 100 reviews. I think 121 reviews in his business as a result of having a process, just having a process in place to make sure I did that. Have you got a process in place for that? So what are the key things in your business that if you had a process in place for? Have I said process enough? I'm getting a voice. But if have you got that in place? So really important that you understand that if you want to get off the good times, bad times, you have to make sure that you've got a process and that you implement it consistently. So the first thing is the process. The second thing is, how do I actually do it? Well, how do I get the process and make sure it happens all the time? Now there lies the rub. Okay, this is human nature, and humans tend not to do stuff consistently. Okay, they tend not to. Right? Just as we talked about in the beginning. Here's a vitamin pill. Take a vitamin pill, and you'll feel all right. You start to feel all right. Stop taking the pill. Here is an exercise routine. This is a great one. Here's an exercise routine. Go to the gym every day or 4 days a week. Do this hour. Get sweaty and feel the pain. And in 6 months' time, you'll feel great. Don't just go once and do it and then think everything's going to be all right and you're going to be as fit as anything, because you won't be. It's all about consistency, all about consistently doing it. So we talk about JFDI, right? Just fucking do it. You have to do it. You just have to do it. Now, I read a little quote which really sums this up, and I love this. Let me just find it on my phone for you. So I'm in one of these like over 50s fitness groups for people who are over 50 who want to stay fit and stay motivated. And it's quite a supportive group. And I'm a little skinny runner. I'm dead skinny. I used to play rugby. I'm not too skinny, but I mean, this is full of like beasts who spend their time pumping iron, right? They're like huge men and women, actually, by the way. Absolutely amazing bodies. They're 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old people. So really, truly inspiring. And there was a guy who wrote a little quote, which has really inspired me to talk to you about this tonight. How do you JFDI? How do you do it? Right? Once you've got the process, if you know what to do, why don't you do what you know? So you'll have to excuse the language in this, but he basically says, fuck motivation, right? I'll tell you right now, if your goals and aspirations are fueled by motivation, you haven't got a chance in hell of achieving them. No amount of motivational YouTube vids, crap-assed Instagram wannabe posts and rants from nobodies acting like fitness gurus will keep you on the iron path long enough to succeed. Okay, discipline makes motivation her bitch. Really makes me laugh. Discipline makes motivation a bitch. But at its core, chasing motivation, is insistence on the infantile fantasy that we should only be doing things we feel like doing. The problem is then framed thus: how do I get myself to feel like doing what I have rationally decided to do? That is the problem, right? So I know I've got this process. I know it's going to work. I know it's going to get me my goals, but I just don't feel like doing it. So I don't do it. So he goes on to say, right, the proper question is, how do I make my feelings inconsequential and do the things I consciously want to do without being a little bitch about it? Let me say that again. The proper question is, how do I make my feelings inconsequential and do the things I consistently want to do without being a little bitch about it? Okay, the point is to cut the link between feelings and actions and to do it anyway, right? So basically what it's saying is, right, is that you need to divorce your feelings about doing the work because it sucks. You've got to divorce your feelings about that, and you've got to marry the outcome that you want. You got to marry the outcome that you want to make sure that you do these processes that are going to help you in your business, right? You've got to switch off this, I don't want to do it, and you've got to turn on the, do you know what? I want the outcome, so I'm going to have to push through the pain. I'm going to have to do it, and I'm going to have to do it consistently, so it becomes habitual. So if you've got, I've asked you lots of questions today about Are you happy with your process for reviews? Are you happy with your process for collecting money? Are you happy with your processes for, recruiting people? Are you happy with your processes? Are you happy? Are you happy? Do you have a process, right? So you might be thinking, I don't know. I haven't got any processes for hardly anything. I'm winging it. Are you happy with your processes for actually quoting a job? No. Are you happy with your process? You might think, oh, I've got so much to do. I'm not happy with it. What we'd suggest is just pick one thing. Just pick one thing and start there, right? You've got to pick one thing and start there. So, life and business is all about, it's really all a series of decisions, one after the other. What decision that you're going to make? So I've talked about this a lot, right? But your first decision is to decide to actually do it. I'm going to decide I'm going to do something. I'm going to take some action, because the learning and the results are in the doing, not in the procrastinating, thinking about which one is best. JFDI, because you're going to be moving forward anyway. Okay, so just so important. So just start. The first decision here is to start. So let me wrap up, because I don't want to rabbit on too long. If you're fed up with feast and famine, if you recognize this, if you're fed up with the whole good times, bad times cycle, if it's if maybe it's not even financially, but spiritually or emotionally or within your own relationships, if you've got this good time, bad time cycle, you can eliminate that. You can eliminate that. So I say that again. You can eliminate that if you have some really decent processes that work, and then that you are committed to following. And if you follow the processes and you do it consistently, when it's good and when it's bad, not just wish you'd done it when it was good, so now it's bad, you're wishing you'd done it. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. That's the whole point of me talking to you now, right? Is to do it consistently. Is to go to the gym every day. Is to think about your marketing processes every day. To implement this every day. To talk to your team every day. To review every week. Is the processes that I'm using, is it actually working? Is it still relevant? Am I still getting the results? How can I improve it? And to do it consistently, because if you do that, you can get off the hamster wheel of pain and good times, bad times, and you can create some balance in your life. And then with balance, once you have that, comes calm, comes harmony, comes much better decisions. And much clearer thinking, because you're not in panic. You're not in panic mode around, what is working, what isn't working, and I need it now. You're not a coffin dodger, thinking you're going to die tomorrow, so you better get to church and start praying for forgiveness. Okay, because you have lived your life habitually. It's a way of life. Okay, the way that you've lived your life, the way that you manage your relationship with your children, the way that you manage your relationship with your partner, with your business partner, with your customers, all of that is a way of life. It's a way of living, and it's a layer upon layer upon layer of processes that work over time. So I really hope this has got you thinking about how you can improve your business and also your business life, work-life balance. If you need some help with understanding processes and what works, then reach out to us, because as there are on the market, there's loads of them. We've got loads of proven stuff that gets some great results. So if you're interested, reach out and talk to us. But I would really encourage you to just think about what we've talked about today. Do you have processes in place? And if you have got processes in place and you are on this feast and famine, good times, bad times cycle, is it because you're not delivering, or you're not doing the processes that that you should be doing every single day? Okay, so don't wait for times to be bad to start praying, right? Don't wait for times to be bad to start planning and thinking. Just do things consistently. So this is Nick McDonald saying, hope that helps you. Keep smiling and no slacking, and I'll talk to you again soon.